Hello guys, and welcome to part 14 of me making a film score generator. I apologize for not sticking to the 2-week schedule of film score generator updates, because every week I thought that I didn't do enough to make a video. But I was wrong, because I actually made a lot of progress. I have a lot to fill you in on, so let's get straight into the video. The first thing I did was I trained some note memories, relative chords, and word memories. After training note memories for hours, I realized that I had only trained 40 out of 400. So, instead of typing all the words manually, I ended up adding a GUI with a list of words that I could select, and several presets with keybinds that could automatically select many words. However, the process was still extremely boring, so once I thought I trained enough memories, I decided to start on the actual AI generator, the final part of the project. Because this was a long time ago, I forgot exactly how I coded the generator, so I will just explain how it works. It first starts with the list of words, or the prompt, and the length of the segment it will generate. Then, it converts the prompt to numbers by finding its happy, sad, and suspense values from the word memories list. Next, it would use the length to generate chord lengths that perfectly fit. It would first generate random chord lengths, but it got too chaotic, so I changed it to generate only 2 or 4 beat chords. Then, it would find the happy/sad/suspense values of every relative chord memory and list them. After, it has to assign a chord to each chord length. It finds the most fitting pair of chords by scanning through the relative chord lister and seeing if its HSS values are in range of the HSS value of a word in the prompt. It also sees if the pair of chords has a matching previous chord to the actual previous chord. The range for the HSS values starts at 1, and increases by 1 until a single chord is identified. However, it would be more important that the chord lasts long enough to fill up the current chord length. So, if the AI fails to find a chord with an HSS value in range, but it could find a chord that was long enough, then it wouldn't care. After identifying a chord, the AI adds them to a chord progression list. Next, the generator would have to assign instruments to each chord. However, at the time, there were only 2 items in the instrument memory. This was due to a glitch where the code that should have removed duplicate memories removed too much, and only kept memories that had completely different instruments. After fixing the code, there turned out to actually be around 100 instrument memories, so I trained all of them. The generator then assigned each chord an instrument memory with the most matching HSS value. Next, the AI would generate notes. To find the most fitting note memory, the code looks for 2 things. It should have notes that add up to be at least as long as the chord to fit the length of the chord, and it should be in range of the HSS value in a similar method to the chord generator. But instead of finding just note memory, the AI needs to find one for every instrument assigned to the chord. It had a lot of trouble doing this, because I barely trained any note memories. However, I was too lazy to train more, since it was so tedious, so I changed how the AI assign instruments. Instead of assigning a single instrument memory to each chord, it would assign a list of every instrument memory in the order of most fitting to least fitting. Then, the note generator would start at the top of the instrument list and go down until it could assign notes for every instrument. I then wanted to preview what the AI could generate. So, I coded a MIDI exporter, and I had to mostly start from scratch, because the one from my previous film score generator was coded so differently. After relearning how MIDI files worked, I successfully created a preview. However, I was disappointed, because the AI's music sounded terrible. The chord generation was too random and did not match the prompt. So, I decided to change how the relative chord memories worked. Instead of remembering just a pair of chords, the AI would remember the whole chord progression. A chord progression would be identified by finding a group of notes that had similar HSS values. However, most of the notes didn't even have HSS values yet, because I barely trained the note memories. After training like 50 note memories, I got bored and gave up on the project for a week. I came back, and trained around 100 more memories, and reworked the chord generator. Now, the music sounded a little better, except for the fact that the chords and notes kept on repeating. This was because the eye would always find the best chord and best note, meaning it would find the same things every time. I fixed this by preventing the eye from using the same chord within 3 chords. I then finished training all the chord memories, hoping the music would get better. But instead, it sounded worse, because even though my prompt had all happy words, it generated minor sounding notes. I tried forcing all notes to be in the key, and I even rounded all chord lengths to the nearest beat. But it turns out that it sounded bad because of a stupid bug I made while reworking the generator. I then felt good about my generator, so I began experimenting with keyframes, like what I used in my last film score generator. I wasted hours trying to find out why the AI was only generating half the keyframes. Just remember that it was at 120 BPM, meaning 1 beat was half a second. Anyways, after I got the keyframes to work, I started creating the actual interface that would allow people to use the AI. However, I didn't get much done yet, and I will hopefully have more to say in part 15. Anyways, I made a lot of progress in the last 4 weeks, and I hope this can be completed soon. See you next time, and bye.